everybody, how you doing? Jamie and back at you again with another injection of Motivated Matters this Humpback Wednesday, May 19th. I hope everybody's in a good place, in a safe space. I can't wait to continue to talk about our topics this month for mental health awareness as we talk about dis-ease to dis-ease, as we talk about different forms of fear. We spent the first week talking about fear in the form of control. I shared with you some of the hardships that my grandmother dealt with as she was being controlled by her father and abused sexually in a very bad way that impacted her in her Alzheimer's disease. We then talked about last week about fear in the form of anxiety as we talked about the different symptoms that comes with being anxious all the time, dealing with anxiety, how you deal with shakiness of hands and pacing around and also dealing with heart palpitations and loss of sleep, all these things leading to disease like diabetes, high blood pressure, loss of life because of loss of sleep and just dis-ease. So I can't wait to continue to keep talking about that topic because it's so rich to me. But I wanted to make sure before we do that, I want to talk about, as I know that we're transitioning out of the pandemic, people are starting to get more and more comfortable with going back to the old normal. We're going to talk about what's going on with ExecuMass, our partners. Our partners are also doing some rebranding. They're rebranding from ExecuMass to ExecuStyle to give them more horsepower in the marketplace, to make sure that they transition from not just mass, but to premium accessories. I'm really excited about what's to come with ExecuStyle and how they make sure that the stylish professional really hits home. As you're traveling, you got to make sure you've got that ExecuStyle with you. You still got that ExecuMass, but it's tucked away. It's something for you to pull out and really feel confident about as you're traveling. As you're going to these really public places, you're going back to arenas and environments to share your time and celebrate. Make sure that you're safe with ExecuStyle. Image is everything. Let's continue to support ExecuStyle in our journey. So as we continue to talk about dis-ease, there's one that I've been toiling about for a while. I've been toiling with this thing. It's called depression. That's right, fear in the form of depression, where you feel as though you just lost everything. You can't really control your life anymore. You've just given up. And I want to talk about the transition on how you get to depression. Remember, I shared with you how all this dis-ease, it starts to pile on top of each other, right? We talked about fear in the form of control. That's one. Then we talked about fear in the form of anxiety. That's where things start to really shift, because we start to require medication on how we deal with anxiety, be it self-medication, clinical medication. And that leads into other areas of dis-ease more longer term. I'll give you some feedback on what I really mean about that. So you think about, do you know anybody that's plagued with depression first and foremost? Do you know anybody that's plagued with depression? Depression is real. Depression is when you mentally snap and you say, I can't deal with this no more. I think about people that are homeless or that have gone through some really hard trauma, be it work or some economic disadvantage. Depression plays in those areas of the mind with people that have been through those things. The research I've done, the parts of the globe that really are plagued with depression are those that are very socially economic, just depressed, like Africa, Caribbean, these areas that are third world countries. Depression hangs out in those environments in very, very interesting ways. I think about what also comes with anxiety. We talk about the medication that you receive clinically to deal with anxiety, right? You read the back of the bottle. It tells you depression is a side effect. It tells you erectile dysfunction is a side effect. It tells you vomiting and all these bad things, but depression is on the back end of every clinical medical bottle that I can think of. But then there's also, what about those people that can't afford the medicine, so they self-medicate with alcohol? You can see about alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. You know, it's one thing we're celebrating, but we're also medicating, right? It's like you didn't have that great moment at work, something very celebratory in your life. It comes with alcohol, right? But then it also reaches a point where too much alcohol consumption starts to trigger some of these different areas of dis-ease in your life. It's like alcohol starts to be that symbiotic relationship with that dis-ease, and it starts to creep up on you. And all of a sudden, you find yourself having to deal with depression. At one moment, you were happy. But now, just like that clinical medical bottle, alcohol is doing the same thing in a bottle. The same thing. And I'm sharing this with you because these are things that I'm learning as I educate myself. I've danced that dance with alcohol many times. I'm sure a lot of us have. You know, I'm being authentic. I always am. But you got to be careful if you're dealing with some of these other areas of dis-ease, because certain things will trigger them and they'll start to backfire on you. I think about if you ever go to the liquor store, you start looking around, everybody's depressed, right? When you walk into a liquor store, it's like that feeling, like you can feel it, like, gosh, what's going on in here, right? It's that feeling, like you almost feel like that dude in the movie Get Out, like, what's happening? You feel that area, they feel that depression. You got to think about these things. You got to think about people that you know in your circles that are depressed, that are manically depressed. There's depression, but then there's the whole next level of manically depressed. Like they can't get out of it at all. They love to surround themselves around people that are depressed. Like they say, misery loves company. Depression, that's real. So I'm sharing these things with you not to give you solutions, because we're going to save that for the next episode, but to shine the flashlight on certain things that you should look at in your life, over your lineage. What's happening with your family? Is there anxiety there? Is there control? Is there depression? Is there alcoholism? You start putting these things together, you start having the trifecta. So I want you to really look at your life. Are there areas where you're having these symptoms? What are you doing to medicate? What are you doing to get help in these areas? We'll talk about this on the next episode. I look forward to seeing you again. I can't wait to conclude this Mental Health Awareness Month. Like and subscribe this video, share it with your tribe. I look forward to sharing some more time with you here on Motivated Matters, where these topics motivate. Because look, what is impacting your fear is impacting your motivation. And that's why we got to get to the root cause of it. I look forward to seeing you again, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.